Okay, so I got the trailer back. Everything is good. I mean, everything is really good. I'm happy with. So, while I'm at it, my viewer just requests what to check for. They ask about what things to check for with a trailer and maintenance and buying and things like that. And since we're at the front of the trailer, I'm gonna go ahead and start at the front of the trailer. Doing maintenance, and obviously things you're checking for if you're purchasing, it's just literally body, if there's any holes or anything. All the connectors are mounted properly to the bulkhead of the trailer, and that all this stuff here is sealed. Sometimes these things do leak, and they'll leak inside of the trailer because there is sealant around here. And there's just 2 bolts. You pop the bolts out and you can reseal that with caulking. And during maintenance, there's seal under here. So every so often I check these, and I actually buy rubber silicone, like you can get it from Lowe's, any color, almost like bathroom caulking, and just re-bead the whole perimeter of the trailer. I mean, all the way around. And you can see it, there's just rubber, because sometimes you'll get water in here from the rain running down, and if it's just a little bit cracked or a little bit unsealed, you'll get a little bit of seepage inside, and you'll notice it because you'll see it on the floor, but you won't see it leaking on the roof. So you'll be wondering where the hell it's coming from, because you can't see it physically dripping. It's not coming from there, it's coming from here. Or it's a possibility that it's leaking from the top, because the top also has rubber caulking around it. But usually once so many years you have to do that. But generally I find that these areas are more susceptible. And also, yeah, somebody was trying to call through my train of thought off. But also, yeah, you want to just make sure that all this stuff is caulked. And if you're buying a trailer, look at the inspection, the stickers, and see when the inspection was last done. Mine is done faded, you can't even see it anymore. But I do have the original in the truck, so I can always keep a copy of it. Then you always want to check your VIN plates when you're buying, to make sure your VIN numbers and stuff match what your title says. And again, you see the caulking here, it's dry. It's about time for me to go ahead and start getting ready to recaulk this side. And then also you want to check under here, at your mounting plate, and make sure that there's any cracks or holes that shouldn't be here. You have drain holes here, and these are also hook holes for if your trailer has to get towed by a wrecker. This is what they use. They don't use the kingpin. They don't need you have a kingpin to tow the trailer, otherwise the tow truck would be pointless. So this is how people walk away with people's trailers, or they wonder how their trailers get towed. No, they just hook up to these and lift up on it. But your bulkhead mounting plate, where your kingpin is, you want to make sure your kingpin is good. Mine is connected, so you can't see it, but just physically want to make sure that there's no cracks or separated welds, because this is welded. So you want to make sure that it's not welded or coming apart anywhere on both sides. And then we want to look at our cross beams. So every trailer is going to have cross beams. You want to make sure that they are welded and they are in good condition, and that they are not bent, broken, Again, they're welded to the under mounting plate, and they you want to make sure that the welds are good. And while you're also at it, you can look at your floor in between, make sure that there is no separating wood, no serious wood rot, and you can see all that through. You'll have normal discoloration because the wood planks, they just fade over time. And trailer wood, the natural trailer wood, if it has not been replaced, is pressure treated, so it's okay. It can pretty much deal with being wet and deal with the elements because it's pressure treated. But sometimes you can check under here. If you see mismatched boards, that'll tell you that some work has been done and that somebody may have replaced some boards in the trailer, which is not a big deal. The problem comes in if they replace it with regular lumber and not pressure treated, and in which case you want to spray some rubber coating under it. I used to actually spray rubber coating under mine anyway, just for the hell of it, but it gets expensive because you need a hell of a lot of rubber coating to cover all of this. So, but that's what you want to check under the bottom, because when you're looking at the wood from the top, these beams are pretty thick. So if there's damage under here, you can't see that from inside of the trailer because it's just that thick. So you might see nicks up top in the inside of the trailer that are not penetrating, and that's what you want. You don't want it to be penetrating. But if you look up here, you got deep gouges in here, then you want to catch that early, because you can feel that they have fillers for that kind of stuff if it's minor. So again, we want to look at our beams, and then we want to check our landing gear and make sure that our landing gear turns and it engages in low and high gear. I'm not going to get into that. You guys should know how to do that. Checking your gears and make sure that it's operating smoothly. And there is grease fittings right here. I know you can't see this, but this is dark. There's a grease fitting here. You are supposed to have your landing gear greased. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't do it. And there's an upper and a lower. So here's a upper. You grease the top shaft. That's to grease this shaft here. And then you have another lower one that also greases the actual retracting arms and legs of the landing gear. So each side is the same. They both have their grease fittings, and you grease those. So can we see them over here? Well, there you go. That's a grease fitting, and that's a grease fitting. And then we check both sides, make sure that our landing gear is mounted properly. There's no broken, bent bolts or bolts that are coming off. That are, as they say in school, properly mounted and secured is what we're looking for. And then we're also checking our beams while we're up under here. And yeah, this section looks really good. And see here we got a little well, this is just peeling. I mean, that's actually bent back, so it's casting off a shadow. But this will happen from just the weather and the temperature, but this is just kind of protruding a little bit, but this is not a major deal. So if you see this, it's not really that big of a deal. You'll get that. Like I said, I can actually pull that off, see that? And then it's not going all the way through because the wood is so thick. And that's one of the things I liked about the Hyundai trailers. They use the really big, thick beams. Everybody got their preference on trailers that they like. Some people hate Wabash or Wabash or however the hell you say it. I've had a Wabash. It was okay. Actually my liftgate trailer was a Wabash trailer. It was okay. But I did like it. I did like it, but I like the Hyundais better. I just like the floorboards are wider. Like on the new trailers, they have the real narrow planks, and it's a whole bunch of them where it's less at ease and they're wider. That's what I like about some of the older trailers. Make sure our lights are working, and that's simple to do. And get in the truck, cut your lights on. Make sure that your cables are hanging in spec, because there is a spec. I forget what the spec is. You guys can look that up, but the main thing is DOT is going to look for to make sure that they're not hanging all the way down here close to the ground. And you want to just make sure that your springs are in good shape, because these things do break. They get old and they start getting rusty and they just snap off on you, and then that could be disastrous. You want to check your air lines and make sure you don't have any leaks for your air. And obviously we already went through the brakes, but we want to check our brakes, our air lines. If you have air ride, you want to check your airbags. Trailer airbags are right there. So our airbags are good. We don't have any leaks. We want to check our leaf springs, our bolts, and everything looks to be properly mounted and secured for sure. And then our sliding rail, I'm gonna have to oil this baby because this is rusty. And if it's really rusty, you'll have issues with it sliding properly. Mine actually is a little tough to slide sometimes because I did something. I used a stopper in one of these holes, and they have these stoppers that helps you maintain your space. And on the other side, I put one in and it got jammed in here, and I think it just kind of threw my trail off a little bit. So unless I have it centered, I can't pull the arm. And you see how that is not centered? So I got to rock it back a little bit and then I'll get it to go in. But moving right along, we're going to check our tires and whatnot, which is obvious things, you know, that you want to check on the trailer, just like you would check on a tractor. You want to check your sliding rail, make sure that it's okay and that nothing is bent tremendously. Like this rail on mine is crazy bent. Luckily, it's not separated from the floor up top, but the bottom end. And I'm guessing this happened from a tire blowing out previously. So that's okay. It is still connected to the top of the trailer. So we are good there. There's no separation. And our airbags look good. And you have shocks for your trailer as well, rear shocks. We're going to check those. Huh, I just found I got a bad shock. Look at that. It completely separated from the top. Huh. Didn't see that. That's real-time catch there. So we'll take care of that before I get back out on the road. When you check your mud flaps, make sure your mud flaps are good. Yeah, our torsion bars are mounted good. That looks like that's the wrong shock on there altogether. No, it might be right. It might just be collapsed. Looks like the top of the shock just rusted out over there, so I can see it. So that's why it looks like it's shorter than the other one. Simple fix. We can handle that. But the rears are good. They're still holding. So we're going to get that taken care of because that'll put unwanted stress on our airbag. And then we want to make sure our DOT tape is good, which I am due for new DOT tape, so I'll probably be putting some of that on before I get back out on the road. Our DOT bumper. Want to check our door handles and make sure that they lock properly. Make sure our locks are in place, because these do break off like that one did. I always knew that was broke, but the lock tops, and since I have double locks, because all trailer doesn't have double locks, I can get away with it, and my trailer still shuts all the way. So that's most importantly, and we can secure the freight. I like the double locks, but sometimes they're a pain in the butt because you have to get them in sync when you're closing it and to get it to lock. But they are beneficial. Our hinges, we want to make sure our doors open and close well. Make sure our hinges, there's no drop off on the hinges. And you'll know because when you open the door, it'll kind of drop down a little bit. That usually a sign of the wood inside has gotten weak, and it's going to be time to go ahead and put either new doors on or have that serviced, because we don't want a door coming off on us. And actually, let's go ahead and open this door. I didn't intend for this video to be this long, but since we're here, and it's mounted good, there's no drop off. In the trailer, we just simply gonna check for holes in the roof or on the floor. My floor is a little dusty, so you can't see how I was talking about the planks, but they're the wide planks, which is what I like, and they're thicker. So, trailer is good. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Ah, I got it. Woo! And all our lights is working. And that's pretty much, you know, the main things that you want to check on your trailer. I may have forgot one or two things. Oh, absolutely. Axles and axle seals. We want to check to make sure that our axles are not leaking. And how we do that is visual. So we check our fronts. I know this was just replaced, so I know this is good. And you know, we just want to make sure everything's dry around there. And when you're inside of the wheel, this is what DOT looks for. You want to look right in this area or in here where the shoes are, and make sure that your wheel seals are not leaking. That's, you'll have oil and things like that in there. And if you look even further in there, let me see if I got my light with me. I do. Keep my trusty flashlight on me. Let me get it on. Okay, y'all, the flashlight don't want to come on for y'all, so I can't show y'all that. Alright, the flashlight came on finally. But if you look under there, that'll be wet back up under there if the wheel seal is leaking. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit better. Hang on. There we go. So, you can see this will be leaking. But that's what you're looking for. And that is a little wet, but I had it changed, and that was the one that I had changed. And then we're gonna check on this side. We are looking good. And with our brakes, there's a line here that we're looking at. This is our wear line. So when our brakes get roughly to that line, they're really low. So we want to just make sure that we still have some of that liner there. You know, you don't want to go too much past that wear line. And that's pretty much how that works. And there's a better picture of the airbag. And there's a better picture of the line, the wear line. Yep. So that will wrap this up. I said, obviously we want to check for leaks too as well. If you got air rod suspension, you want to definitely check, make sure you don't have any leaks. And that is that. Viewer requests, those are the things that I check for when I have to do a trailer inspection. All right, talk to you guys later.